Welcome. We'll get started shortly. Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. There are no polling questions or attendance checks. Instead, you will demonstrate your knowledge by taking a brief multiple-choice quiz using the Earmark app. Visit earmark.app in your web browser. You can also download the mobile app by scanning the QR code on the screen. Log in, or if you're new, create your free account. Be sure to use a valid email address because that's where we'll send your course completion certificates. From the home screen, scroll down to find the course. You can also tap the magnifying glass icon to search for the course. Tap on the course artwork, then the Enroll button. On the Course tab, you'll find the recording and quiz questions. Complete the quiz to earn your CPE certificate. It takes us a few days to create the course on the app, so if you are attending this session live, please wait a few days. We'll email you a link to the course when it is ready. If you have questions or need help, email us at support@earmarkcpe.com. And now, on to the event. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first Earmark Expo. You might be wondering, what exactly is an Earmark Expo? Well, let me tell you, it's an interactive app demo like no other. Here's how it's going to work. We are going to have a live demonstration of an exciting app, and then as the demo unfolds, David and I are going to ask questions from an accountant's perspective. But that's not all. We want you, our audience, to be part of the action too. You can ask your own questions through our live chat, and we'll bring them into the conversation. This is your chance to get and see cutting-edge accounting tech in action, get your questions answered in real time, and gain insights that could transform your practice. So sit back, get ready to engage, and let's dive into today's Earmark Expo.
We'll start with the introductions. I'm David Leary. I am a co-founder of Earmark. We am co-host of the accounting podcast with Blake. I am not a CPA. I'm not an accountant, but I love apps. Blake?
And I am Blake Oliver. I am the founder and CEO of Earmark, and I am a CPA. And I love apps. I love learning about them and walking around expo hall floors at conferences. But I don't get to do that as much as I used to anymore. So this is like basically our private opportunity to get the demos and to really see apps in action. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited to talk with Jon today about Lendflow. Yeah. Jon, how about you?
As well. Great to be here. Thanks for having me out. I've got a bit of an accounting background as well. Went to McCombs, got my MPA there. I'm now the founder and CEO of Lendflow, and love to build, love technology, and love how we can use it to create great solutions to solve big problems out there, especially in financial services. So excited to be here today.
Great. Before we jump in, Blake, I just want to set the table why I'm a little excited about this webinar today, or expo, sorry. Years ago, we were at QuickBooks. I was at QuickBooks Connect. It might have been like the second QuickBooks Connect. And, you bring in small business owners that use QuickBooks. And this was we had a panel of small business owners, and they were talking about the apps they were using with their business. Well, one of the business owners, she had like a baked goods company, and she was doing pretty good. It was like direct to consumer, but then I think she had her products in Target as well. And the app she was talking about was an app that would like give cash advances or loans based on her future invoices that she's already sent to Target because she needs cash, right? Target takes a long time to pay. She needs cash to manufacture more goods, right? It's kind of a cycle. Well, fast forward a few years later, I was watching that TV show. It's on CNBC called The Profit. Have you ever watched that?
Yeah, Marcus Lemonis, right?
Lemonis, yeah. And she was on it, right? And so for those of you that don't watch that show, essentially what he does, he finds really good businesses that might have a cash flow or debt problem. He writes them a check to pay off all their debt. He takes 51% ownership of the company. He becomes the boss, and then he helps fix them and makes them profitable. It's actually a decent show. But basically every episode, there's always the part where he pulls up QuickBooks or he pulls up their profit and loss and balance statement, and he starts going through it. And he just starts reading interest. She had all these high interest loans from like OnDeck and Cabbage and all these other tech lenders, and she was like in this trap of debt. And it's just has always stuck with me because I've met her personally. So then when you see that happen on a TV show, it like really connects. And I was like, where was her accountant, right? Like, how did she not get proper guidance, right? So she almost basically went under. I mean, that's when Marcus comes in to save these businesses because they're about to go out of business. And that really brings us to today, right? I think Lendflow is one of those products that could help accountants help a client like her that avoid this debt trap that could happen. So I think we should just jump in. And Jon, why don't you? You're the founder or one of the founders of Lendflow.
Right, that's one of the founders. Yeah,
Why
I'm the
did you make
co-founder,
this?
Matthew Watts as well.
Yeah, why did you make this?
Well, coming out of college, got really involved with in the SMB lending space. So a lot of the names that you mentioned were early customer of ours. Originally, we were doing technology consulting as well as like marketing, marketing customer acquisition for these SMB lenders. And so we started to go really deep on how things work for them. And at the time, this is around the beginning of last decade, around 2010. There were a lot of branding around fintech lending and bringing automation and all this technology into lending, and that was really, really exciting, especially coming from an accounting background myself and understanding my dad being a tax accountant for now over 40 years, and kind of understanding the value that this could bring to small businesses and the big gaps in the market post the financial crisis. It was a really exciting place to be. One of the realizations that I had was there may have been just at the time a little bit tech than I thought, because when I went out to these lenders and went to their operations and met these teams, it was really just a massive back office of really what was still a lot of manual work being done to process these applications for loans, and for different financing products. And that was a big eye opener. It's like, oh, there's still a lot of room to innovate. And so we got to see them to help them kind of innovate on things they could do to automate, make things more efficient. The other side, got to meet them and talk to them. How are you acquiring your customers? How are you doing it today? And it turned out to be a lot of brute force. It's like, okay, well, our customers are there. We're just gonna, send them a bunch of messages until we happen to catch them at the right time. And that's not really a great experience for anyone. And they knew that. They got harder and harder over time as those channels became more saturated with more lenders coming in to do this. And what they really would want to do is just to bring their products to where their customers already are, and then deliver them a great automated, efficient experience. And so that's where we came in to help solve those gaps. And it's like you said before, Intuit started to look at this around the same time period, and others. You saw Square, and you saw Amazon and Toast, Intuit. All these great companies are trying to launch these products, but it's really challenging and hard to do. And it's also hard for the lenders. How do they take something they built, take all their technology, and make it available within these products? And we decided, hey, we're going to come in and build a solution to sit in the middle to solve these gaps for both sides. And so that's what we've been building since.
So what did you build? Like at some level, like even before you demo it, like what's the elevator pitch? Like what did you actually build or solve?
Definitely. So we built the infrastructure for embedded lending, right? And so what that means is the digital onboarding application for different financing products, for loan products, and the other side on the back end for the lender, tooling to automate in the decisioning and the offer generation process and the onboarding process for them, and then be able to take that process and with one line of code really embed that anywhere, right? To make it really easy to stand this up. Some of the pieces of like what sits beneath that is we connect into all the credit bureaus, all the both personal and business as well. We also plug into all of the different alt lenders, banks, factors, all different types of financing products, and we act as kind of the application layer that sits side by side right now how they normally do things. In some cases, replacing it entirely, and then can kind of bridge that gap and allow them to take their products and easily place it anywhere where their customers already are, and still deliver them that great streamlined experience. So, yeah, that's it at a high level.
So when I was applying to college years ago, there was the option to use like a universal application, and I could fill out one application and apply to a bunch of schools. This sort of sounds like that for loans.
Yeah, it's exactly right. We plug into all of the different lenders, and because we also plug in all of the data, they can just host their models right there in our platform. And so when someone applies, it can just execute them all at once. right? If you're an SMB lender, you're going after a customer and you have an SMB, they don't know how to get matched to the right one. They don't know, is an SBA loan the right fit for me? Like, what's the best fit for for my business need, and where do I go to acquire that? And it creates a really frustrating experience for them because they don't know who to go to help guide them through this experience. And many cases, the professional services firms they are using already don't do this already, and then they have to go one at a time, which means they have to talk to, if they want to try 10 options, they have to talk to 10 different people, 10 different teams, go through 10 different processes, and that can be a really grueling, inefficient and frustrating experience. And so, what we built is the ability for them to apply one time and then get underwritten, and then go to the right lender and get that product and feedback from them very, very quickly.
So you attacked both sides at the same time: the customer experience of getting the loan, and then the lender's experience of like managing a loan, issuing a loan, finding the customer. You've really attacked both experiences at the same time.
Exactly right. And so now anyone, something that was really hard and difficult, that took like years to build, now anyone can offer this service and a best-in-class experience very, very, very easily, right? And that's the secret sauce to it.
All right, so I need to see what this looks like. Can we dig into what the accountant experience is like?
Sure, let's do it. So, as an accountant, you're in a great position to be that positive guiding force and make sure that they're going to get the financing product that's the best fit for their business. So you can see now I'm in Lendflow, and this would be the view that you would see. You would be able to see each of these are workflows, and each of these are applications. And so you would come through here, and you would be able to see the customer's application, where they're at in the process. And help the rates, the terms, and help them guide them through that experience. If they are getting an SBA loan and they need tax returns, or they need a debt schedule or anything, sometimes it's just things they struggle with, right? And they're going to their firms anyway to help put together these materials. Now you can help them put this together very, very easily. You can kind of be on the inside track with everything that's going on and make sure they get that best product. So you see these stages of the process up here. You could click in, see what offers available, see what the rates and terms are, help them, upload any documents, even if you'd like to go in here to the closing step. If there's some, steps or anything that they need here, you can help them upload that. So everything is kind of like your back office view, and this is also what the lender happens to be viewing as well, right? They're going to be synced up to this workflow. They'll have their own on their side, and all the data will immediately flow through to them. So you're uploading it for them, and then the lender is also receiving it immediately, simultaneously at the same time. So this is the back office. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is a client, basically, and you're able to participate in their loan process.
That's right. If you'd like to, it can be completely hands-off. If you'd like to help in the process, you can as well. That's right.
Can we go back to the main deals page?
Sure.
I want to get a better look at that. So we're on the deals tab, and we've got the name of the client in the first column here. We've got the deal mode as a column. What does that mean? It says live.
Yes. So sometimes if you get started, you want to put it through tests through. So this is going to be like, hey, this is a live, real, true application. It's not a test.
Okay.
So that, it's synced into everything. Correct.
And then you've got the deal stage, and that's what you were showing us earlier of the different stages of it. Deal progress, percentage-wise, orchestration status. What is that? Yeah.
So this is going to be just the orchestration is the data orchestration. That means pulling in all of the data from the different parties from the bureaus. It's automating that process. Right. And so it's completely customizable. So each lender can build out their own custom version of a data orchestration. Well, basically, they'll check your minimum criteria against all the data. So they may run for example, a bankruptcy check. Okay. Or they may run a UCC. Are there any liens? Are there any UCC outstandings? They'll pull in a FICO report to see what that is. They'll pull in the bank data or the financials, right? They can just define that here. And this is just if it's already completed that process or it's in the works now or, what's going on there.
So this is all the documentation. We're tracking the status of that. Is that?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So how do my clients get in here? Obviously they're not just going to email me like, hey, by the way, I discovered Lendflow, like add me to your dashboard. Like how are clients getting into the Lendflow flow, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, so I'll go a little through that, and just keep in mind that this is going to be some of the details, but for any accounting professional who comes, we know that they're not going to maybe have a whole technology or development team, so we really can help just spin up a landing page where this is already pre-installed. But I'll just show you a little bit how it works. You can go here and see all the different brands that you can add in here. It just means that you can customize and add any brand that you like. So the first step, if you wanted to use your own brand or you wanted to use Lendflow or whatever brand you wanted to use for this, you could select that here. The same for the email. There'll be email notifications going out. So if you'd like those to be under a particular brand, you can set those here. And then this is where you set that one line of code that I mentioned. So you just set the criteria first. Again, we would kind of do all this setup for you, but we could come here and say, okay, we want to, these are going to be larger. This is for like bank loans or SBA loans. Probably makes the most sense for this. We'll choose like, hey, which workflow do we want this to tie to? This is going to be for business funding. It'll be a marketplace. And so there'll be a number of different lenders. You can customize what products and everything like that that's available here. You can then set the branding. So we'll do that. And then we can set that email branding. We'll maintain that the same. So once we've done that, the settings are complete. And now you have this link, or this is just an iframe where this experience can live anywhere. And this is what it kind of looks like based on the settings that I just defined. And now you can place this application, and going into the onboarding and the offer experience as well can be placed with this one line of code, can be placed anywhere, right?
So I can embed this on my website.
Exactly. Very, very, very easily. So you could add a button, place that link, and then this application could be on your website very, very easily. Same as like installing a Google Analytics tag if you have any experience with that.
Got it.
And so I don't actually select the loan products. I select like a bucket of loan products and display that on my site.
Yeah, so there's some other settings within the workflow that you define where you can just select like, which loan products you'd like to offer. So can get into that as well, but it's really, really easy. You just say, okay, toggle this product on or off. So it helps you curate a little bit what options you'd like to make available and what's going to be accessible for your customers on your private marketplace that you've just built.
And you're setting that in step 2, the marketplace, the workflow category, and the workflow builder template.
Yeah, well, you actually do that as a preface in step 1. You probably do that first before you even came in here, unless you just wanted to use, this is kind of assuming that you just wanted to do what's ever out of the box. Right? If you wanted to do that, we can get into that. You would really just go into this workflow and define that here, right? So you're like, okay, who are we going to send these to, and who are the products and who are the lenders that we'd like to make accessible, right? And so you can come in here, you can define that. What are the products you'd like to make available? What are the lenders here? What are the banks? Yep, that's how it works.
So not only can I make an offering to put as a widget on my website, I could create an offering that just goes out to an email to one specific client.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. So if it could be a one-to-one relationship, it could be a one-to-many. If you just wanted to offer, from one bank, you could. If you wanted to be, 5, you could do that. It could be 50. It's really however you'd like to build it.
Okay. So I see here we've got term loan product type, line of credit product type, and then you click the drop down under each type to select which banks or lending companies you want to include.
Yep, that's exactly right. So they're not as quite as, there's a lot more options in the kind of the normal environment. This is the demo environment. But we have about 100 different banks, lenders, alternative lenders that you have access to.
And how do I, as the accountant, know which ones to choose?
Well, the best thing is just have a conversation with our customer success team, our onboarding team. Like, hey, what are you trying to achieve? What do you see that your customers are asking for, or what they could use? and then going in here and making sure that this is aligned with that. So we usually set all these settings for our customers. It's not something that you need to come in here and do. It's just really easy for us to do it. And so if you saw rates and terms you were excited about, you'd be like, hey, I really want to emphasize this lender. We're really excited about them. Customers are really happy. We want to do more of it. Our team will just come in here and set the settings for you. But if you wanted to, you could come in here and set them as well.
I guess since you're sending the same application to every lender, it doesn't really matter if there's 100 on there, right? That's the benefit.
Yeah, that'd be the benefit. Yeah, you could just maximize your options. That would be like, hey, we want to just maximize optionality and see like what's the best possible option on the market, or you want to be maybe want to be a little bit more narrow. Just It's up to you. Gotcha.
And I imagine like, thinking about niches, right? If I focus on e-commerce, there's going to be some lenders that are better for those types of loans, and versus I'm in the farming niche and people have to buy, $300,000 pieces of machinery, right? Or no more than that, probably $700,000 pieces of machinery, and it's just a different lender is going to probably do those loans, I imagine.
Okay, that's exactly right. Yeah,
I took us away from the client experience. Can we go back to that?
Yeah,
like what does it look like when they move on through?
Cool. Well, it's a great point. When we move through, so let's say like we take this line of code and let's go here. This is an example. We're not partnered with EY or anything like that, but just to give you an example, if you had your accounting form here and you wanted a place to send your customers to if they're asking about financing or there's a need for it, you could come here and this would be, example landing page that they would be able to, we would spin up for you, can customize with you. You could place this here. And then with this one button, now this application that we set the criteria for that's tied into that workflows with the financing products you'd like to offer is here. So now we can, as the customer, go through this process together.
So we're looking for 100K.
Yeah, we'll look for 100,000 here. Exactly.
You're putting in your name, email address, phone number. You can put in your business phone number.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing this will scale properly on a mobile device if they're on their iPad or a phone.
Yeah, exactly right. So it does optimize for mobile, so it'll recognize the device and automatically adjust.
All right, we've got the business legal name in there.
Cool.
And next.
All right, so then we'll select these options. Makes it really easy to fill in the address. It'll identify your IP, see where you are. I'm in Austin, so it'll give me all those option addresses, and we'll go here. Not home based, so let's just say I'm the sole owner. This is basically all the criteria that lenders would like to see. It's a pretty old business. Then we'll get into the personal information. So we'll go through this. Let's expand. This will be the signing of the application.
So we've got a DocuSign.
This is still in a widget as well. Amazing.
Yes, correct. So it just keeps you in here, and there's options. You can have this as a pop-up. You can also just embed it directly into the page itself. Right. So there's a lot of flexibility with that as well. But correct. Always stay in this experience.
Okay, so now we're being asked to upload bank statements now that we've signed the application.
Yeah, exactly right. So let me go ahead and now there are also alternative applications where you can just link it into Plaid as well. So that could be an option. 2, if you'd like to link up your customers that way. This specific one, it's for a bank that prefers just the bank statements.
And then can you also connect it to the accounting systems as well? Instead of me having to print out my profit and loss from QuickBooks or Xero, you'll just suck it in?
Exactly. So we'll probably see that next. There's 2 options. You could have them to upload it manually. You could, or link in your accounting system. We have a few providers there, both Rails and Kodak, where you could just sync in the accounting information also.
Got it. And just because it's a lot of screens that are clicking,
Yeah.
can somebody pause and then come back and finish it later? Or say, hey, once you start, you better have all your ducks in order to fill out this whole wizard or widget?
Yeah, that's a great point. You can resume it at any time. So you'll get an email. If you come out, it'll recognize that you dropped out. The customer will get an email, and you can set it up so you get that email as well, as the account as a professional services firm. And so you could both receive that, and you could just click the link. It will recognize if it's you, if it's the same device, or you can just confirm with your email with a code, and it'll take you to the exact point where you left off.
Got it.
Here's where we could connect our accounting software. I don't have a business to use for that, but you could just click connect here, and it'll sync in that information, or you could just update this manually. So either one works there.
And uploading the profit and losses, balance sheet, this is a part where my accountant can just do this part for me. I could skip this step.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So if you wanted to, they could just tell you, you could log in and just upload the information right in the dashboard. So because you have access to everything on the backside. Okay. This is where we get some of the tax returns too. Again, a lot of the bank products require that. And then we go to next. As soon as you finish, it'll automatically take you here to, this is kind of the checkout process. For some products, we've helped, one of the primary things we're doing is helping bring like the speed of some of the alt lender products and bringing it up market to the banking segment. So we do have quite a few different options for instantaneous decisions where when they get to this step, it will just show the offer immediately. And so that's really exciting. Customers really love that. Now there are bank level offers, monthly payments over 7 to 12 years, APRs similar to right above SBA loans, kind of like near bank type products that are, very, very fast and efficient where you can get your decision right away. So that's been really popular lately, but this is where they'll see where their application is at. And this is embedded right into your site or embedded wherever you'd like it to be. Cool. So I'll go and show what it looks like if there was an offer and available. I feel like this is a demo environment. So we'll go here and we'll go back to this one that we saw before. So you'll also be able to view as well. And this is what it looks like if there is an offer. So it'll give you the instructions. Let me go and say that it's not accepted yet. All right. Might make me log again. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Okay, so now we are back.
So while you're doing that, Jon,
Sure.
If my client doesn't provide all the required documentation, what happens?
So they would just be required to input a little bit more. So
like let's say they didn't,
Yeah.
you skipped through uploading the tax returns at that step, right? Like what if they
Yes,
don't have them,
exactly.
they don't do it, and they proceed through? Are they just can't continue until they upload those?
Well, it would just kind of get stuck at that spot, and they would
Got
get an email from the lender saying that like they would need to continue on with that. So, yep.
Okay.
Cool. So 1 second here.
And while you're clicking on that, I have a question. As an accountant, I guess with Lendflow, I can choose my level of involvement from the least being like, hey, I just want to show a list of possible loans that I quote unquote approve. But outside of that, I'm not going to the dashboard. I'm not messing around with Lendflow. I'm not helping loans get to the finish line, to full blown. I'm practically doing half the work to actually get the loan, and anything in between. If I'm interpreting this correctly.
Yeah, that's right. So you just kind of choose your level of involvement. If you want it to be completely hands off because you don't want to, have to deal with any of it, we'll have dedicated funding advisors to onboard them and walk them through the process, help them with every stage of it. If you'd like to be a little bit more involved and that you can help collect the documents, you can be involved, you can see everything that's going on, you have the transparency into what's happening. So it just depends on your preference. Exactly right. Well, you can see the borrower platform here. And so you can see at this stage, they haven't accepted yet, but they can view it here. They can see the rates and terms, and then they could accept or decline and kind of say why it's not a fit, or accept and continue on through the closing process from this point.
Now, would any time somebody get 3 or 4 choices here after they apply?
Yes. If you set it up that way, then it would display multiple. So they may have, all different types of products. They may have one option as an SBA loan. The benefits of that are hey, it's probably going to be the lowest rate, but it's the most involved and time-consuming process. Maybe it's a nearbank product or an alt lender, an SMB product. So just you can have all different options, or an equipment loan or an invoice factoring, depending on your business and kind of what you set up in that workflow.
Do you offer any communications tools? Because I can imagine getting to this screen and I have 4 or 5 offers and I want my accountant's input. And I know how this goes. Mm-hmm. It's screenshot, put it in an email, do this. Can I actually have a discussion if I wanted to discuss with Blake? Hey, what do you think of these terms? Do you offer any communication abilities in your app?
Yes. So absolutely. If you'd like to, normally, I think the reason it's not here is not an assignment. There'll be a call button here. So the first one, if you want to just call the person who's walking you through, there's a call button right there for you to access the person who's managing your file. The next is if you wanted to set up an email template and to trigger out to yourself as part of the process, you could just come here and build out that template, right? That could include the link to that borrower platform. So if you wanted to set it up so every time your customer receives an offer, you got a notification of that, and it includes a link that links to this same borrower platform here, you could, right? So you could help walk them through it and review the terms with them live. So it's really easy to set this up. Email is available here. You could also, pretty soon next month, we'll have text messaging. If you'd like to receive a text with the same functionality, you could do it that way. So there's lots of capabilities around those types of communications.
So I can be watching all my clients, and if somebody gets a loan or if they're about to take a loan, I can find out and not be a surprise, 6 months down the road.
Yeah. Exactly, and help walk them through it. And like you said earlier, help make sure that it's the best fit for their use case. Maybe a loan's the best fit, and maybe it's something like invoice factoring. Maybe they should get an asset-backed loan and try to get longer terms or a better rate by backing it by an asset. If it's something like an equipment or real estate. So it just really depends on the situation. And we have a lot of experienced team members who will work with a customer. I've seen thousands and thousands of these applications before, but you also get to play, if you'd like, you can play an active or passive role in that. So just kind of gives you the ability to provide that guidance, offer these services to your customers with confidence.
I see there's an integration tab there on the left-hand sidebar. Mm-hmm. What sort of integrations do you offer?
Well, we can go right into that. So the first is just LSPs. This is that borrower platform that we showed before, just like a standalone setup for that by itself. Let's see. In this demo, it looks like some of these may not have been activated. So here we go. A lot of these, here's one example of the lenders. These would be all the lenders that are available. If you would like to connect into API, if you're another lender and you want to partner with a lender, or you're a platform, let's say you're an Intuit or someone, and you wanted to connect into the API of all these lenders and build out your custom application flow, it just makes it really easy to do that. And so that's what these are for here. I will, let me change the view. real quick. These are where you're just going to see your Experian, Equifax, your TransUnion. This is where you're going to see your, origination platforms, for example, like Intuit or Amazon, or a lot of those that we discussed before would be there. Here and here are the lending service providers like your DocuSign. So for the demo account, like you have to go through a compliance process to kind of like give access to a lot of these. So this demo account did not go through that, but I can make those available here in a moment.
When it comes to security and compliance, this would be a good transition, I think. Like, what measures does Lendflow take to ensure like security, privacy? Obviously, it's on the web. It's a widget being put anywhere. Like, what do you guys do?
Yeah, exactly. So we put a lot of effort and work into that, just because it's so important. And to have that, you really need to go through a lot of audits with every single provider. Every provider we get audited with yearly. And we also go through the compliance requirements as well. So many of you are probably familiar with the SOC 2 compliance. We go through that each year. We have regular penetration tests at least once or twice a year. And we've really built from the ground up with security in mind. We're working with a lot of the biggest platforms, right? And so this is super important to them. They really put us, this is kind of table stakes for them also. So as part of that, it's pretty much table stakes for us to be able to provide that. The data is never flowing through your systems if you don't want it to. So one of the benefits of using these tools here is like you can provide the service within your website, but it's in a wrapper of all the security and controls and compliance that we've had to put in place for each of the credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, LexisNexis, all of the others. But you don't have to take on that compliance and security yourself, right? It's contained within here, and now you can easily embed it and provide these services securely without having to put in all that upfront work yourself.
You mentioned a few times during the demo, Jon, that the Lendflow team helps with a lot of this setup. Can you describe what sort of support is available to accounting firms?
Sure. So we'll work with, you'll have a dedicated, CS team who will work with you, who will help you do all this setup, who will help you put everything in place. You will also work with, you'll have a dedicated funding advisor for each application who you can chat with as well. So they would be like, hey, CS team would work with you to set up and go through the onboarding process. And so that would be, setting what type of products you'd like to offer, setting up the workflow, setting up any email notifications and like how you'd like that to work, helping you set up the landing page that you'd like place on your site or help you embed it. The funding advisors would be for each of the applications that'll go through, it'll automatically be assigned to one of those funding advisors. So they'll work with your customer through the process. You'll have their access as well. You can talk to them about what offers are available. So you kind of just get both sides, one for the setup and the other for each application. Both sides of support.
And I don't think we mentioned the revenue opportunity for accounting firms yet. This is a great service to offer clients, and they'll be happy to have access to all of these lending options. But how do firms benefit from offering this?
It's really a value-added service for your customers. They're going to go and need to get financing anyway. It's a really important part of building a business, as growing this business. They want to take advantage of the opportunities. They want to be able to grow. They want to be able to best service their customers, and financing is an important part of that. They need to go find it somewhere, and it's difficult. It's a painful experience for them, and they don't have great guidance, right? They get into the trouble that we touched on early in this call, where they take out the wrong product or they get over leveraged. And instead of being an asset and a great tool for this business, it becomes a detriment. So accountants that are in one of the best positions to guide them through this process, it's just never been easy to be able to, offer a marketplace of these financing services and curate it and customize it exactly how you'd like it is now with Lendflow today. And so now you kind of get the best of both worlds. You don't have to do all this work to technology and compliance, work to get all of this set up. It can be, really, really simple. You can build it exactly how you'd like it, and then you can make sure your customers are getting access to the best available products on the market and are getting the best end-to-end experience as well. So yeah, that's what's exciting.
And how do you compare
Same
to?
time,
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I'd say at the same time, you earn new revenue streams for your business, right? It's a new way that you can grow your revenue. You can have a new revenue line, expand the professional services you're able to offer, at the same time provide a very valuable service.
So how does that work? How do I get paid as an accountant?
Right, so you'll be able to earn just a percentage of the success of the program. So you'll have full insights into like kind of what's being earned. Obviously, these lenders are paying for this service every time they receive these applications and fund a business. They are paying because we're effectively bringing their product closer to where that customer is. You'll earn a percentage of that. So for every loan that funds, there's a percentage that will go, and those will be paid out on a monthly basis to the accounting firm.
Got it.
Is it more like a finder's fee, or is it like a commission? Because I thought something about it is accountants pushing the highest interest loans or the most that's going to make them the most profit. Like how is it calculated? I guess more specifically.
In most cases, it's how it's paid as on a percentage of the origination, right? So that also can be customized as well, right? That can be, if you'd like to earn more, you could. But really, what we encourage is providing your customers the best experience, right? So. And it's not mutually exclusive, right? Even SBA loans or bank loans, they're gonna pay out at really fair rates as well for those, and the conversion rates are going to be a lot higher because they're better products. So it's not the type of thing where it always works out like, oh, I'm going to just provide the highest interest rate products because I'm going to earn the most. It actually doesn't always work that way, and then the conversion rate is going to be less low. It'll be a lot worse experience for your customers. They may get into trouble, right? And so incentives are aligned. It's like how we'd like it to work for you to always provide the best product that's available and the best service, because ultimately that's going to make them come back. They're going to renew, they're going to be happy, and their business is going to continue to grow as well.
How does this compare to like QuickBooks Capital, or, I mean, I think even at some level people will see an OnDeck or a Cabbage, or there's so many small business lending products that are out there, and I don't think it's super clear which one does what, but how would you bucket where Lendflow is versus these other products that are out there?
Sure, definitely. Well, I mean, the cool thing is that you get to offer all of these other services if you'd like to do so. So if you would like to offer any of those, you could. If you'd like, again, it's your own kind of custom marketplace. I think the difference is that you get to really be a part of that experience, and you get insights and access. And also, many of the lenders on Lendflow will get preferential rates compared to what they can get, just because we're making the process so much more efficient for them. We're literally reducing their costs, both on the customer acquisition side. They no longer need to go direct to the customer, and on the efficiency and the automation. So we have a lot of special deals with lenders where they're going to get preferential rates than if they could go just going direct. On top of that, you get to curate a list of all of those products that you'd like to make accessible, and like we talked about before, it's streamlined all within one application. So provide a better experience to them. They get access to all the different products that are available on the market. Just about every one is available on Lendflow, and they get all of that through one application experience. They don't have to go one at a time to see, is this product or that one, am I going to be approved? And is it going to be, what's the cost or comparison to each one?
So again, it comes back to the one experience.
Yeah. Right.
Go ahead, Blake.
Well, I've got one more question for Jon, which is, where do you see Lendflow going over the next few years? Let's say 3 to 5 years. Where are you headed?
So we're seeing this being really popular in a number of different industries. And so, expand out into more and more product sets. You talked about like, hey, there's going to be different industries or different segments that work best for different types of customers. And that's absolutely true. And we're seeing that from, platforms themselves. Like, for example, John Deere, who's a customer who's signed with us, they are building out, something really focused on equipment that dealerships that they work with can embed. We have others that are offering instant pay services. So to be able to make this seamless within the workflows of customers who are in different software, how can we help make it embed into these different workflows, and how can we make the experience more and more seamless over time, and just keep adding more lenders, more banks, and help bring more and more supply, bringing more and more products into the system. So when you apply through the experience, it's as seamless, as efficient as possible. And it's really bringing, if you applied for a consumer loan, bringing the consumer loan experience, the instant, decisioning and checkout in one sitting. You can really go through the full end-to-end process. How can we bring the experience to equipment, right? And to bank loans, to SBA loans? How can we really expand this across the board and make this really, really efficient for lenders so that the cost of capital can keep being driven down, right? That cost that goes into that process, that inefficiency just makes the cost of the loan products higher. But the more that we bring into this, the more that we can help them efficiently acquire customers and do it in a very, very streamlined way by providing a great experience, it also helps drive the cost of capital down. That's why they're providing the preferential rates. And if we do that in a very broad scale, then SMBs are just going to have better and better access to financing over time, and it's something we're super excited about.
So if I'm an app, I'm just thinking out loud here, I'm some app, right? And usually right now, if I want to offer a capital or loan product to my offering, I'd have to go and make a biz dev deal with a specific lender, maybe 2 or 3 lenders, and present those on my app. I'm just going to embed your widget, and now every app could have a loan offering in their app by using Lendflow. Is that processing?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, correct. That's exactly right. And you could curate and customer it based on your customer's needs. Or, if it's a marketplace and there's one party that's providing services for another, but the net terms are net 30 or 60, how can that SMB get paid on that immediately instead, right? And get that cash moved up front so they can invest that in growth. Right? If you're in a dealership and you're getting a piece of equipment, how can you make sure that you're optimizing the terms on that equipment so you can check out there right in the store? Yep.
All right. Well, to learn more about Lendflow, where should our listeners, our viewers head, Jon?
Yeah, definitely. Right here, we'd love to talk to you. Head over to lendflow.com. Make sure that you let us know how you learned about us. And we'd love to walk you through the experience. We'd love to, talk about how we can, kind of provide this marketplace experience for your customers.
Fantastic. Anything else, David?
I think that's it. This is great. Learned a lot.
Thank you, Jon. Thanks everyone who joined us, and stay tuned for a quick message on how to earn CPE. And we'll see you around here next time for another Earmark Expo. Today's event has ended. To earn CPE, go to earmark.app or scan the QR code on the screen. Then log in or create your free account. Search for the course by tapping on the magnifying glass icon on the home screen and then entering the name of this event. It takes a few days to make the course, so if you're attending this event live, keep an eye out for an email letting you know when the course is available. Pass the quiz to earn your CPE, then tap the button to email yourself a certificate. Stay tuned for more events from Earmark. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.